Welcome back. Hydro here again to help walk us through the details of the Drainage Act. We're going to dive into the details of how the engineer determines cost sharing for the new or improved drainage works. But if you missed our overview of the process, be sure to jump back and watch the video called Assessment Principles. And if you're ready to talk about the tools engineers use to help distribute the overall project costs, then let's get going. First up, let's talk about the special assessment. What if the drainage system has to make a special accommodation for a road or utility, such as crossing under that road or navigating around a gas line? You might worry that you'll have to foot the bill for all that extra design and construction work, right? Nope. That increased cost is covered by the road authority or utility owner, not everyone else. The engineer uses the special assessment tool to calculate the extra cost caused by, for example, the road, and compares it to the normal costs. Basically, what it would cost to design and construct the same length of drain if the road or utility wasn't there. The special assessment ensures that the landowners only share the normal cost, while the extra costs are paid for by the road authority or utility owner. Now, let's talk about the special benefit. It's kind of like the special assessment, but for private landowners instead of public utilities. Let's say your neighbor wants the new drain to be bigger than what today's drainage standards are. The special benefit tool ensures that the rest of the landowners in the watershed won't have to help pay for that special upgrade or request. Another tool engineers use is outlet liability. Some folks might ask why they need to pitch in for a new drainage system if they don't have a drainage problem. Well, your land might not have a drainage issue, but someone else's in the watershed does. And the water causing that problem comes from all over the watershed. This is also the water that will flow through the new drain. Some parts of the watershed will contribute more water, some contribute less. Outlet liability is all about being responsible and accountable for our land's contribution to the drainage issue and helping pitch in and solve that problem. So, how does the engineer figure out how the costs are shared based on usage? They start by determining the area of your property within the liable watershed. They consider where the runoff from that area enters the drain. The higher up the drain it enters, the more length of drain the property uses. Conversely, the lower the entry point, the less this land contributes. Keep in mind your property may not enter the drain all in one place. It could enter the drain at different locations. The engineer takes this into account using topographical information and things like tile maps. Finally, they assess the type of land cover. For example, woodlots produce less runoff compared to roads or buildings. The runoff potential of each land use is measured against agricultural lands, which serve as the benchmark. All these factors are combined and analyzed to calculate how much runoff each portion of land will contribute to the overall drainage system relative to all the other portions of land in the watershed. The more your land uses, the higher your contribution to the overall cost. This is called outlet liability. Lastly, we have the benefit assessment. The benefit assessment is all about figuring out how your property stands to gain from the drainage project. Folks such as developers or farmers can increase their land's potential by having access to good drainage. The boost in value is real. For farmers, things like thriving crops and higher yields thanks to top-notch drainage make a huge difference. Now, when it comes to the nitty-gritty of benefit assessment, it's been a bit of a wild west historically. Engineers might have eyeballed what seemed fair and called it a day, leaving room for inconsistency. At Headway, though, we've transformed this process. Using advanced tech like terrain processing and deep machine learning analysis of high-res aerial mapping, we're not only precise, but fair too. We make sure every property benefiting from the drainage work pays its fair share. I hope you learned a bit more about cost sharing and how the engineer uses Drainage Act tools to assess overall project costs to everyone in the watershed. and feel confident that your contribution is determined fairly and equitably. For a deeper dive into the assessment, check out our next video, where we explore the nitty-gritty of cost distribution. If you'd like to learn more about the Drainage Act, be sure to check out the other videos in this series.